Everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. Looking forward to talking to founder and CEO of Leva. Did I get that right?
Leva.
Leva, right? Leva app. I'm sorry, like my dyslexia kicked in. I said it right before. Of Leva and levaapp.com with Vanessa Jupe. Vanessa, it's great to connect with you, and I'm excited to learn more all about you and your business. You founded the company after experiencing the challenges of breastfeeding, being a working mom, and finding work-life balance firsthand. You're a passionate leader with over 20 years of experience in the digital product development space, and we'll dive into all of that and more about you and the business. You know, I'm a business coach, Vanessa, and so I work with people all over the globe, from solopreneurs to Fortune companies, and I work with people who are successful and stuck, and I get them unstuck. And what I love about this podcast is I get to talk to guests like you who can provide really a lot of value to help people get unstuck all over the globe. And so to kind of kickstart our talk together, you know, what's a recent stuck that you have found in your business and how have you gotten unstuck?
Oh, it's interesting. I love that question. If you had asked me that just 2 months ago, I would have said, I don't know anything about sales. Like, I have always been on the product development side of things, and I'm having to learn how to sell for the first time in my life. And so it's working. It's been great. But what I really wanted was sales folks on our team that knew what they were doing. And so I feel like now I'm unstuck because we have some great sales consultants that are working with us that are actually guiding our strategy and making deals close. So I'm excited.
It's great. Good for you. Well, and you know, everything is sales and everything is marketing. So it's great. And you know, one of the things I'm always recommending, I work with a lot of salespeople and leaders who are in sales, is it's something you got to study every day. It's a craft you got to study every day. I actually have a podcast that I did with a buddy of mine called the 7-Minute Salesman. It's 133 episodes, all kind of under 15 minutes, all sales. You may enjoy it. All right. Thank you for that. And let's talk about you. So I want to really kind of dive into the idea of finding work-life balance. I don't, you know, is there such a thing?
Oh my God. I think it depends on the day.
Honestly. Yeah.
There are every mom. So we focus on moms. We focus on new moms. And I think it really just depends on, like, have you hit your stride? Are you in that moment of flow? Have you figured out what's most important to you? I'll just aside for myself, I always go back to my core values, which are freedom, family, and continuous learning. Those are the 3 things that if I'm doing those things in my life, I'm making time for those things, then I'm doing things the right way. So over the summer, my husband, our 6-year-old, and I went on this massive road trip. We were gone for 40 days all over the Pacific Northwest. But, you know, as an entrepreneur or anyone that's working in a corporate position, you can't stop working really and like actually achieve your goals. And so what we did was we ended up spending a week, like 4 or 5 days in a city, and then exploring around the city in the evenings or early in the mornings and getting our work done while we were there. And I felt like that was an awesome balance because we were able to kind of do everything we wanted to do and also have freedom and fun. But those moments are rare, right? Like then you get back to your normal daily life, and then it's a challenge.
Yeah.
That's why I think, you know, what I do, what you do is really important because you need help and you need a coach and you need support, right? You can't do it on your own.
You know, it's interesting. So one of the things I help people do is find the routine, find the structure, right? So let's talk about that for a minute, because when in this 40-day road trip, that sounds incredible. You know, it took a lot of planning. It took a lot of structure. It took a lot of kind of finding the routine of it. And so how did you do it then? And how are you doing it kind of, you know, one of the things I recommend to clients are, you know, plan out your week on Sunday, and then at the end of every day, plan out your next day, because every day is a little bit different. So how do you suggest that moms, you know, kind of do that, whether by the day or by the hour, depending on the age of their kids?
Yeah. Well, depending on the age of their kids is a critical point. I love that you mentioned that. So for little ones, especially, you know, for the new moms that we support, really it is about knowing what time does your kid normally nurse, or what time do you need to pump? What time does your kid take a nap? Like plan that out and get your kid on a schedule. That's what I did. It helped change my life dramatically. And so I feel like that's really something that at least, you know, that's coming, and you can plan for what you need to get done in those moments. And then on the road trip for us, like we got up at certain times, we did our work during the day. We had adventures that we had planned in the afternoons. In my daily life, normally, like I got up this morning, I just a second point. I just got back from this like ridiculous 10-day trip in Iceland, and while it was amazing and beautiful, it's like I get back and I'm like, well, shoot, my whole routine is gone. Like what I'm used to doing, like I go for a run in the morning, I meditate at night, like all that stuff is gone because I just got back from this trip. So then you have to like snap yourself back into it. So this morning I'm like, okay, it's time for weights. We're doing weights this morning. Then we're getting a shower. Then we're getting on our call. We're getting our kid breakfast, right? So I think to your point, a routine is critically important, and knowing what your most important things are and what makes you feel good about yourself is really important.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go ahead.
Time boxing. Like I have 5 hours in the morning that I do certain types of work, and then 5 hours in the afternoon that I do other types of work. And that really helps me at least know what I'm focusing on at what point in the day.
I love it. I love it. Let's talk about, as we're recording this, it's September 5th, 2023. And we're recording it live. It'll be on my podcast platform. And so we're in a post-COVID world, but COVID is still real. We're in a hybrid working world where people are starting now to come back to the office. Some it's optional, some it's not optional. Things have been, ever changing for the last 3.5 years. And so what are you seeing your moms need from you and your platform today, and maybe differently than they even needed 1 year ago or 3 years ago pre-COVID?
Yeah. One of the things that I love that I'm talking to a coach right now. I'll just say that again. One of the things that we have heard consistently from our moms the last couple of years, and we launched during COVID. Okay. So it was all an idea like, oh my gosh, breastfeeding sucks. It's so hard being a working woman. But when COVID happened, it was like, oh my gosh, now is the time we've got to build this thing, because I can't imagine being stuck at home and dealing with all of this and not having the support. So that's really where everything came from. So everything we've been doing has been during COVID and post. But ever since the very beginning, coaching and getting support from like a career coach, for example, has been really, really key to what we've been doing, because women want that help, and we are really here for working moms. So I've seen the coaching be a consistent piece that people are looking for. In addition to like lactation support and the other types of support that we have, but the focus areas of what they're looking for has been slightly different. So we've had moms of kids that are like 4 or 5 years old, really wanting to like up their game, really wanting to focus back on themselves, like get to that next goal in their career. And then we've had moms that are like, their kids are little, like really little, and they're just struggling with like, how do I balance this baby and my career? And why do I feel like life's not fair? And how do I move past life being not fair? Right. So we see kind of the whole spectrum. And even recently, we have folks that are booking sleep coaching sessions with us. And they like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, they've now aged out of our platform because their kids are older. No, we have moms of kids that are like in their 20th month, 24th month. And they're like, my kids aren't sleeping. I need help. Yeah. So I think like we're, even as a founder, like our company's been around just a couple of years, and our app-based ecosystem has been around 9 months now. Like I'm constantly learning like what the market needs, and actually that they need more than what I originally thought. So it's been an interesting learning journey.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd say is nutrition. One of the, as we've seen more and more pregnant moms come onto our platform, they're really interested in like, how do I have a healthy pregnancy? It's not just fitness. It's not just lactation. It's also like, what am I putting in my body and how am I nourishing myself? And so we recently added nutrition coaching to our app actually last week. So all of these things that are kind of evolving as I'm learning more from new moms, which is really cool.
So cool. Let's talk about, it's interesting because I'm a dad, and I think my world is much different. I have two children, 17 and 20, but it's, and I can only speak from my experience, but in my 17 and 20 years, especially when my kids were infants, it was a lot easier for me to find a minute than it was for my wife to find a minute. Right. And so, the kids were more needy of her when they were at a younger age. So, I mean, I could talk about that for a while, but but amongst my friends, I think that's pretty typical, right? Yeah. So how does a mom find a minute to really kind of like ground in that minute? I think I watch my wife do it. It's really hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah. And then what does your app do to help them get there faster?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really critical point. And I think it's something that's a constant work in progress. Just as a human, right? We are raised a certain way that our needs come second. We have to put everybody in front of ourselves. And even being okay with knowing that you need that time is something that I think every woman comes to at their own pace. And so we try to support the moms on our platform to help them understand that it's okay and it's actually necessary to take time for yourself. When you are in our app and you're pumping milk for your baby or you're nursing your baby, we have mindfulness meditations that are built into the experience. So rather than scrolling through social media or trying to catch up on work, we're really encouraging the mom to be present in that moment. And even if it's not like the most relaxing thing on earth that you could possibly be doing, getting yourself into a different mindset where you're actually intentional about how you're spending your time. You're listening to a 15 or 20-minute meditation that's really about you, I think is incredibly helpful. And you probably know all of this, but like meditation is key for reducing anxiety, reducing depression. It actually supports milk flow as well for breastfeeding moms. So we really have been thoughtful about the way we're building the app so that the mom is able to kind of prioritize time for herself. But then we also have a lot of videos that focus on work-life balance and really address mom guilt head on. Like, what does it mean to like struggle with balance? What does it mean to need time for yourself? And how do you prioritize that? And how do you get that? And how do you like figure out, because a lot of us don't even really know what is important to me and why do I feel frustrated? And so like walking you step by step through that. We do that in like video content. We do that in articles. And we also do that with one-on-one coaching.
Yeah. And so what's the cost of the app?
So the app is $99 a year or $10 a month, depending on how the mom decides to pay for it, if it's direct that she's paying for it. But we also work with tons of different companies. We work with B2B. So we have employers offering Leva to their workforce as a benefit. And we're also starting to partner with hospital systems and direct primary care physicians as well. So we're really trying to get the service out there for as many moms as possible.
I love it. And then the one-on-one is additional.
Yeah, the one-on-one is additional.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great because you can hit the masses, and then those that want a little extra can come on board. I think it's great.
Thank you.
And so let me ask you a question. So I want to talk about being intentional, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's something that's easy to say. I think it's easy to say at the end of the day, and then hard to maybe implement in the beginning of the day, right? Because life just throws a lot at you, and so how do you set intention and then kind of figure out a way to recalibrate through the course of a day?
Ooh, the course of a day. That's really interesting. I feel like, say more about that, because to me, I feel like recalibrating happens more.
Well, yeah. So I think I find as a business coach, one of the things I work with my clients on are being very intentional with how they recalibrate through the course of a day, literally putting in their calendar, 1 to 3 times a day for 1 to 5 minutes. It's time to recalibrate, go for a walk away from their computer, because I find that it's really, really difficult, especially in a post-COVID era, for people to regulate themselves. It's really, really hard. There's more, there's an increase in people being overwhelmed, people being distracted, people being just not being able to focus. And so when they lose kind of their momentum, it's hard to get it back unless they're intentional about literally time blocking and looking at their calendar and saying, oh, I need to go for a 2-minute walk.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to take that tip because I feel like I'm in that spot sometimes where I'm like, I really need to go get away from my computer. Right. I find that I honestly don't have a great answer for that because my recalibration is usually like, okay, well, tomorrow I'm going to do this differently. Yeah. And so like during the day. So I love that you said that. Yeah.
Well, it's recalibrating in real time. And I think, you almost have to put in your time entry that says you must walk away from this computer and either A, take a walk, B, shut down, go put on sleep mode, something that kind of keeps the flow, of your day. I read a great book. It was by this doctor and Oprah Winfrey, and it was called What Happened to You? I don't know if you read it or not, but the book is incredible. And it talks about childhood. It was the doctor he's a doctor who deals with childhood traumas. And and they talk about the whole book. To me, one of the through lines of the book was how to regulate yourself and really, really just kind of, tap into how you do it for yourself. You would love it. I read it just because I thought it popped up on my Audible, and I thought, I'll see if I like it. But it's one of my favorite books. Yeah. So let's talk more about you and the app. So a mom who's pregnant and about to be a mom who is a mom of all ages goes to the app. How do they use it? Like when and how do they use it? What's the flow of usage?
Yeah. So in a perfect world, like if you're pregnant, you come into the app and we're updating content. We update content every week. So we're adding new articles, we're adding meditations, videos, you name it. It's constantly getting updated. Plus we're enhancing features. So we'll send you a push notification, that tells you, hey, this new article is here and it matches your interests. So you can go in and you can say, I'm formula feeding, I'm breastfeeding, I'm interested in my health, I'm interested in my baby's health. Like we have 8 or 9 categories that the mom can opt into reading articles about, seeing video content about, getting notifications about. So all of the content that is displayed in the app is really dynamically associated with the person's interests. And so every week as we upload content, if there's something that matches your interests, you'll be notified about it. Also, you can go in on a weekly basis as a pregnant mom and see how your baby is growing, see how your body is changing, because there's a lot of changes that happen in our bodies as women when we're pregnant that get us prepared, obviously, for delivery of the baby, but also our breasts are changing, right? Like they're growing and the mammary gland is developing. It's very interesting how much changes in a woman's body that we just don't really know about or talk about. So we're informing the mom about what's happening to her and why she might be feeling a certain way or what she can expect. And so that all happens during the course of the pregnancy. And then, of course, all of the content that we have is available for the mom at any point in time. Once the baby is born, the mom can let us know the baby's been born, and then we flip the interface essentially to a tracking interface. So the mom can go in and track any feeding, any diaper, anything like that, and baby's weight and growth. And then, of course, milestones. So is baby crawling when they're supposed to be? If they're not, like, how can you encourage them? What can you do? At what point does it make sense to really go see a pediatrician? So all of those pieces of guidance are included in the app, and the mom can go in and read articles, can listen to meditations every day, hopefully fingers crossed, and really start to get like full benefits of that, like the questions that she's having or the stresses she's dealing with. She can get some of those challenging things addressed.
Yeah, that's great. Sounds like an incredible app. What can dads do to support their wives, the moms?
Well, we have content about that, actually. So we do have available in our app and on our website articles that are specifically for dads about how you can help the partner. You can help the wife. I think, a lot of the tips are really just be willing to take the baby, bottle feed the baby, change the diaper. I think the biggest challenge facing any new parent, especially moms, is the lack of sleep. And especially like if you're breastfeeding or pumping for your baby, like you're not getting sleep because you're up every couple of hours doing that. And you're also then hearing the baby crying, you're changing the diaper. And so if you're not getting sleep, then there is no way that you're going to be a mentally healthy and stable person, let alone that for 3-month mark in the United States where we go back to work. Going back to work, being sleep deprived, it's terrible. It's flat out terrible. And then, you're at the office, you're feeling like, I've talked to so many women that tell me that they felt like they didn't have their brain cells anymore. Like they felt like imposters. They didn't know what they were doing. So for the dads, I would say like number one thing is help the mom get the proper sleep and make sure that she's doing okay so that you're safe, your baby's safe. Like an unrested person is never a good thing. And we know like of these terrible stories that happen all the time when things go really south. Postpartum anxiety and depression are huge issues and very underreported. But they occur in the dad too, right? So it's not just for the mom, but I think sleep is critical, which is also like, we offer sleep support and sleep coaching as well. But I think making sure that your partner is getting enough rest is probably the number one thing you can do. Right, and you can do that by helping out.
My kids are 17 and 20, but which I'm glad about. I was just at a family event, and my my cousins have like a baby on the way and a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old, and it was.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to tell her to get your app.
That's a lot.
Get your app, yeah. All right, let's do a quick speed round, Vanessa. A book, a TED Talk, or an article that's had the biggest impact on you?
I love Simon Sinek's TED Talk about, starting with why. Yeah, I love that. I'm a product person, so you always want to know why.
Yeah.
Book. I'm reading this really good right now. Do I have it here? I'm reading a really good book right now called You're a Badass.
Oh, it's a good book.
Yeah. Have you read that? Oh, that's great. Yeah. And then, yeah, I think
that works. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Just be your authentic self.
Yeah.
I think it's like really positive right now that's something that we're talking about in corporate America, even if companies don't always live into it, but you're never going to be able to like achieve truly your goals in life or be the full version of yourself or happy if you're not authentic. So I would just say that.
I agree. Finish your sentence. One thing everybody can do to do things with more intention is
take a few hours away from everything that distracts you in your life and write down your worst experiences, your best experiences, understand what they are, and then think, where do I want to be 10 years from now, reflecting on where I've been.
Good. I love it. Thank you, Vanessa. This was great. Think community. I just want to extract a couple of things that Vanessa shared today, which is 1, make sure you're in alignment with your values. 2, do things with intention. And 3, which you said but didn't say, don't be afraid to start a company at any time, no matter what's happening in the world. Because if you have an idea in you and you know that it's going to help and that people are in need of it and will actually pay for it, then jump right in. Vanessa, this was great. Tell people where they can connect with you and learn more about you.
Absolutely. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Vanessa Jupe. You can also follow Leva on LinkedIn. We're our Leva app pretty much everywhere, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. So please come find us.
I love it. And you can reach me at jondwoskin.com. Vanessa, this was great. I appreciate you being on the show. Thanks a ton.
Thank you for having me.